back to that. I really like that. Again, back to the very like down tempo, vibey stuff. Which
that's my bread and butter.
Yeah.
Anything that's got that kind of thing going on, typically I enjoy it. But his name is Trevor. He's a really significant person that has come into my life within like the last year. That is like just a genuine friendship that has stemmed from just like an artist relationship at first, but now he's one of my best friends, and I really cherish our time together and our friendship. But also just watching his growth since we met has been really crazy. And I guess I could say the same for me too. Like I've definitely grown a lot since we met too, and what I was talking about when we were talking about our collaborations and stuff, just what you can learn from other people just by working together.
Yeah, I think there's also often a bit of like friendly competition there as well.
We always try to flex on each other.
Exactly, and you keep trying to push each other, and I think that is great. Like I don't think that art should truly be competitive.
It's like you said, friendly competition. Like there's fun in it.
But some healthy competition with that, where you're just kind of like trying to one up each other, see who can make the coolest, one shot or whatever, you know. And that was one of the things that I did really enjoy about this song is the sound design of the different elements. Yeah. Because there's the one like kind of like
thing.
That
really delayed, echoey kind of like cymbal sound, if you will. Or...
Yeah, it almost reminded me of like if you like took a cymbal hit, time stretched it so that it was like really slow, and then just like took a snippet of it, and like maybe put like an envelope on it to make it sound like a cymbal again. Yeah, that was kind of how I thought that it sounded. I have no idea if that's how it was done. Let me know if
I don't know
if you watch this.
That's funny. But no, I think that song in particular, though, when he came out with that and sent it to me, it just stuck out in my mind. I was like, this is probably like your most true to you song that I've heard from you. That it just really, it felt like it was coming from a true place inside, like he was really putting his emotions in it and like telling a story with that song. And like starting to carve out his own distinct sound with this EP in particular. I
always think that that's really cool when you look at an artist's catalog and you can like almost pinpoint the release where it's like that's when they found their sound. Yeah. And it's really neat. So this is their most recent release, is that correct?
Yep. It's
from July of this year.
Okay. I couldn't remember exactly when it came out. I knew it was earlier this year. But yeah, he definitely has a lot of other stuff that he's working on right now too, but it's not out yet. So I was like, I guess I can't talk about it. So I'll pick this one though, because I really loved this one from day one. And I also am working on a remix of that.
Nice.
Too, but it's still like a work in progress right now, so I don't necessarily have a timeline for that, but I just love all of us just sending music to each other and making remixes of each other's songs. Yeah. And like, it's just fun though.
I always find that so fun, like sending stuff to people before it's out and just being like, check it out, and then they just hype you up and then you hype up their stuff. Yeah.
It's just like a never ending, go back and forth.
Yeah. I also thought it was interesting, you mentioned when we were listening to this, the way that he plays with dissonance. In the choice of choice of notes and keys and things like that.
Yeah, like sometimes there's a couple moments in this track in particular where there's some notes that are being played that aren't necessarily in that key, but they work in the moment and they kind of give a little bit of like sadness or melancholy. If you will, but it's also like a brave choice, I think, because you're kind of breaking the rules a little bit with that. But again, it works in the way that he does it.
I feel like you see that a lot more in rock music, or jazz and things like
Definitely
that.
Definitely jazz, or progressive rock and stuff like that.
Where you play with a bit of dissonance and the way that you can use that to manipulate the emotion of a song. Yeah, and to give more payoff to certain parts, because if you have this dissonance and tension, and then especially if you hold it for a little while, then that release feels so much more gratifying when you go back to
the root note or whatever.
I was gonna say whether it's the one or just kind of back on key, because I mean you're there. I forget who the quote's from, but it's always you're one note away from the right note or whatever. But I do think that that's really neat, and especially like that's one of the things that I love about like certain types of electronic music, like, you know, future bass and things like that, is the way that people play with chord voicings.
Yeah.
Because you're not, when you're doing that, especially if you're like drawing in the MIDI and things like that, you're not limited by what a person can physically play on a keyboard. So you can make these really lush chord voicings that have several octaves. And it's really interesting too, the way that you can put these dissonant notes into a chord, but if you use a different register, then sometimes it adds like a flavor that's less dissonant. Like that, you know, that's basically what, you know, seventh chords and jazz chords do.
Right.
But it's the way that you use it with these like big lush synths and stuff like that, I always think sounds really neat.
Yeah, but also like the dissonance and things like that, I think is something that's pretty rare in electronic music. Like you were saying, you know, it's more common in jazz and like progressive rock and stuff like that. But I feel like electronic music usually is mostly based in like
Pop.
Pop and like not being dissonant though. Mostly everything just being in key and like easy to listen to almost, if you will. But so yeah, I thought that was really cool.
I agree.
Sweet.
So my next song is going to be another more like electro poppy kind of song. Another person that I found because we became mutuals on TikTok because we both talked about like you know, music production and things like that. And so we started talking, and this was the first song that they released. The artist is called Seffel, I think.
Okay.
Saffell. Not 100% sure how to pronounce that. If I got it wrong, I am sorry. But this came out in June of this year. So it's been out for, you know, a good 6 months or so. And I find myself going back to it because it's got some really neat sound design elements that you don't hear, at least in my opinion, you don't hear quite as much in the kind of like synthy pop electronic realm. So I think it's really cool. This song is called Wrong Way Home.